Hello.
Hi.
This is Ceri.
And this is Kat. And we are Tea in Valhalla. You join us this morning in a slightly frosty, very sunny, wonderful Wiltshire. We are planning to visit the Avebury Stone Circle this morning.
Well, we're doing a few things, Ceri.
Oh, sorry.
We're also going to see the West Kennet Long Barrow, and we're going to see Silbury Hill. It's one of the largest man-made structures.
I was going to say, this is the weird hill, isn't it, that nobody knows?
They're not too sure, but I'll talk about that later on. But yes, I mean, we're in the very important Avebury area, and at the moment we're actually walking through the avenue. So these avenues, they come in like a pinnacle. You've got on one side the Beckhampton Avenue, and the other side is the West Kennet Avenue. All of the geological features and creations in the area, which are all important, they're all part of the whole one monolithic ancient sort of architecture. Yeah, they created them purely for spectacle, because they don't actually make sense otherwise, because although they're processional, they only go to the actual main stone circle in Avebury. And of course there's about 8 or 9 different geological features created for the same area here, but they don't go to those places. So it's believed that it's so you could file along, people would file along in the same direction, see all the different things. The idea is that it was a spectacle, that people would go there and be in awe of it.
Fancy pants.
Yeah, and of course it helped people know the way, because there was no maps. So some of the stones here have been replaced by just bollards, but actually the whole avenue would have been entirely these great big sarsen stones, as they're known. And sarsen stones, I have said before in a video, but they are large sandstone blocks, and they were all mined and carved out deliberately. So the idea is these large ones, these large tall ones, I think it's hard to get a perspective without me standing next to it, so I'll do that. So these large, much taller stones were seen as male, and these smaller, there's a little bit of distance between each one, so this run will have to be done. These smaller stones were seen as female. Ancient Britons had quite a fascination between the male and female, and nearly everything came down to, including their religions, came down to the male and female aspect. That's the belief in why the stones vary so much, and because everything was very deliberate. Oh, I think there's a kestrel up on that stone. Do you know what I haven't got today? My binoculars. There he is. Probably didn't pick that up, but that was a kestrel. So we're coming down to the end of the avenue now, which will lead into the world's largest monolithic stone circle, Avebury. And actually the whole of it, so this whole landscape, is one of the largest prehistoric sites in the world too.
There is a site available, yeah, pay and display parking at Avebury, but there's also a few little lay-bys.
Lay-bys. So we parked for free in a lay-by right next to the gate that leads along. One? Yeah, well, yeah, it's the male. He likes it. Look at that. Shows how large that is.
Commoosive.
It's massive. Commoosive, as he says. So from here you can actually see the ditch, the bank and ditch. So the actual stone, the outer stone circle, is just about 330 metres in diameter, which is somewhere near 1,080 feet or something, which is incredible when you think about it. Originally, they think there might have been about 98 sarsen stones, which is the massive ones, and it could have been in excess of 40 tonnes that many sarsen stones. Obviously there's not that many left today, but wherever they think they may have stood, they have left like little bollards. You'll probably see them when we get a bit closer. Sorry, but Ceri's taken some lovely photos of these sweet little lambs.
Lovely though, isn't it?
Really nice, very peaceful.
Yeah.
It's actually Easter today.
Yeah.
Easter Sunday today. We weren't sure about coming out because we thought it'd be really busy, so we've come out very early, and that's why everything's still a bit icy. But hopefully we'll, although this walk could be about 10 miles, so it might take a little while.
Yeah.
Because we've got things to see. I also want to go up, and I don't know if we'll make it, but I want to go up the tallest hill in Wiltshire.
Yes.
Milk Hill.
Milk Hill.
So Tan Hill and Milk Hill have this argument that one's bigger than the other, and Ordnance Survey in the end decided it was Milk Hill by something like 20 centimetres or something.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really small.
Again, tallest point in Wiltshire. Sad to say, ashamed to say, we've never been up there before.
But you realise there's actually a white horse on it.
Is there?
Yeah. And so I don't know if it's on the actual Milk Hill hill or if you can see it from the Milk Hill hill.
Okay.
But we'll find out if we go all the way that way. But we might. To find out, you'll have to keep watching. Yeah. So the landscape in Avebury is from about 4000 BC. This showed that agricultural economy must have been pretty stable, because without that, without the assurity of being able to feed and trade food, no one could have spent time on activities such as this. They couldn't have been building for religious or processional reasons, because they wouldn't have had any spare time. All time was taken up by being alive. So it's quite interesting. So Avebury Stone Circle itself is actually around 3000 BC. Well, that's how far the carbon dating's gone back currently. But I think they're actually looking into that further. I think some of it might be older. Anyway, which actually means it could predate Stonehenge. It's a possibility that all of Avebury Stone Circle was completed before Stonehenge. There's actually quite a belief that Stonehenge is a show of technical difficulty to show what can be done, and you know, because obviously some of the stones came all the way from Brazili Mountains in South Wales, so, and that's a hell of a distance, and imagine that when you're still digging out ditches with antlers. But here, this was to wow people. So Avebury Stone Circles consist of outside rings of stones with inner rings of stones, and apparently these would have been done as different projects. So, and they believe that the outer ring was the beginning, and then the inner rings, and then additional pieces, and the trench is actually slightly older. This trench is massive. This is a huge, look at this. This is, it's very deep indeed. It is, it's about 30 or 40 feet. It is massive. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before. I mean, currently, it's for contemporary pagans, so you do get a lot of religious rites done here. The Druids will come here, do their religious rites and things. Yeah. Because it's as prehistoric as it can get for, you know, someone who's still practicing as a pagan, a contemporary pagan. So, but yeah, then they think it would have been for gatherings. So it was when you needed to gather for perhaps great big feasts and things, yeah, or to make sure to find out how people are doing. Clearly, agriculturally, it must have been pretty good here. So perhaps they came together to see who was farming what, how we could trade. Yeah. Let's keep ourselves well fed and rich. Yeah, rich food wise, I mean. And also, yeah, spectacle to go, look at what we can do. This is what we can do these days because we're so good at our agriculture.
Check us
pretty
out.
Much, yeah. We're farmers now.
Boasting.
Yeah, pretty much. So there is a bit of a belief, because there is so much sort of building work done here and so many ritual areas, there's a bit of a belief that because of their sort of farming prowess, there was a bit of a religious revival here. Okay. And everyone was right into religion all of a sudden. They suddenly found themselves with surplus food and able to trade and stuff, and they felt so bulked up and they were like giving it the big one that they thought, well, we might as well go with full religion. And they did.
worth mentioning, these gigantic stones were all locally sourced and mined relatively close to the area.
So this is still the external circle that we're walking around at the moment.
Just see the old barns, and just behind the barn there you've got the church, St James, I believe.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh,
That's
I knew
right.
something I didn't know.
Someone else has done some homework.
I didn't like that at all, Ceri.
I remember the name.
No, I don't like that. But you can see, I was saying earlier about it not being haphazard. And when you see that, you can actually see that that is deliberately shaped that way, isn't it?
Yeah.
This really is an extraordinary place though, isn't it?
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, you can tell that you're walking in the footsteps of your ancestors.
Yeah, no you can, yeah.
So you get to walk through the village itself as well, which is brilliant. And it's worth noting that everything we do and see today is completely free. The stone circle, the hills, everything. You see we avoided the pay and display parking, and we're just cutting through the village currently. Be sure to, oh hello, Kat spotted some suspicious stone.
Yes, quite a huge amount of large sandstones. Suspicious. Mm. So this stone circle is one of the largest in Europe, the largest in the UK, and the actual monolithic structures are the largest in the world. So it's super duper special!
I think the blackbird agrees as well.
I heard that, yeah. Gobby little swine.
So we're down in amongst one of the smaller sort of stone circle sections now. You can see behind us where we were at the start of our walk. Lots of gates and crossings and things in between. Very accessible, family friendly.
So yes, this is the site of the stone circle, the inner stone circle that unfortunately doesn't exist anymore. But these stones here, which I'd say are some of the largest,
without a doubt,
yeah,
the biggest stones
in nearly the whole of this construction. Well, this would have been 3 stones, and information that archaeologists have been able to retrieve from Orkney told them that the reason, the purpose, 3 stones placed together in sort of almost like a triangular fashion, as long as the walls have enough depth, will create an echo chamber. I think the idea was that you were talking directly to the gods when you were able to, you know, echo your voice up. So, because of course they wouldn't have had the science to understand what the echo was. So unfortunately one of the oldest parts, which was actually a great big square sarsen stone, and they believe that was the very first one. I think may have been destroyed in the 18th century or moved.
Oh no.
Yeah, and the whole village itself sits on one of the inner circles. So a lot of the stones are either used for the buildings, which was quite often, this is a thing in 18th century England, we often used the ancient things around us, smashed them up and used it for building. This is something we always did, especially sandstone because it's so easy to use and build with.
Yeah.
So yeah, so a lot of the houses look suspiciously like sandstone. This is Avebury Chapel, apparently just been bought by the National Trust. I was being nosy then. Don't know if this will ever see through that. It's just been bought by the National Trust. I know absolutely nothing about it. Ah, it's a garden of reflection. Just a tiny little nook. It's
That's
tiny,
sweet.
isn't it?
Yeah, very, very quaint.
Yeah. Got some rosemary in it. Right, so as we're not allowed to walk on the ramparts and that, we've decided that we're going to whip off now to Silbury Hill.
So we're just leaving Avebury behind us now. We picked up the footpath. Lots of little guiding signs showing us how far we are from Long Barrow and Silbury Hill. And down next to us on the right here we have the River Kennet, which eventually will end up feeding into the River Thames.
So this lovely river, it does have some fish stocks, but it's actually quite famed for its invertebrate levels.
Oh.
Has particularly high invertebrate levels, which is a really good sign.
So you can see behind us just over here is the incredible Silbury Hill. It's the largest man-made prehistoric structure in all of Europe, possibly even the world. It's constructed entirely of chalk, 39.3 meters tall. Sadly, it looks like it's been fenced off, so we can't get any closer or even on it. You're meant to be able to get on top of it and do a little dance, but sadly I've packed my tap shoes for no good reason today.
He means by that ancient Britons used to get on it and dance to show revelry. But it's completely fenced off, so I presume it was perhaps suffering from some erosion. So that's fair enough. It's actually got the same volume as the Egyptian pyramids in Giza. Imagine that, entirely man-made. Nothing about that is natural.
And they say it was completed in 2500 BC. Amazing.
Interestingly, even though many archaeological digs have taken place on Silbury Hill, nothing has ever been found. So there's no remains there, because usually, especially man-made mounds, they have burial remains in. The whole point of it is that they're a ritual site for burials. Yeah. But there is nothing in Silbury Hill, not a thing. They have done extensive archaeological digs there. They've even put a whole shaft down into it. Really? Just to see, yeah.
Oh, like a core sample.
Yeah, it's strange. Nobody knows. It's a complete mystery of why they took the time to do this. Again, they think, just like the stone circles and the avenues, it was about spectacle. Oh, it was about, look what we've done. Because actually back in the day, although that's full of grass now, they kept that entirely white. Oh, so that would have been a shimmering white beacon. And they wonder if it was almost a draw. But they have no idea. It's just theories, but there's nothing in it.
Very strange.
Very weird.
Very strange. And we're gonna just pick up the path now. I think we keep it heading off this way.
We do.
Towards the Barrow next, isn't it?
Yes, we're going to the West Kennet Long Barrow.
Excellent.
And we'll tell you more about that when we get there. See you in a minute. Woo. I was talking earlier about this being the biggest complex of prehistoric monuments. And this shows exactly what I was talking about here. So that shows the stone circles and Silbury Hill and the Kennet Long Barrow, which we're about to go to. We walk up this field now to the Kennet Long Barrow, and then hopefully we'll tell you all about her. So West Kennet Long Barrow is an incredibly impressive burial chamber. It is the largest in Britain. About 50 people are actually buried inside this chamber, which is a lot for the time, before it was sealed over. Wow, it's great.
I was not expecting that. It's brilliant.
That really is big, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, give me perspective. Go and run up there, quick. Just want to give you perspective of the size of this Long Barrow. That is an incredibly big Long Barrow. Give us a wave. So obviously you can see that it was in fact sealed in. Everything else is a recent add-on so that people didn't damage these beautiful sarsen stones wanting to get in. So here we go. South chambers, north chambers, the blocking stone I've just shown you just now, and the west chamber. So it's actually made up of 3 different chambers. Ah.
And just some really exciting news. You can go in it.
Oh, didn't you know?
I didn't know that.
Oh yes, you can. And in fact, it's funny because this area is quite sacred to modern pagans. I don't know if modern pagans prefer to be called Wiccans or the other way around, but I'd say modern pagans. And because it's almost like the womb of the Earth Mother, so it's quite sacred. So, and obviously it was blocked about 4,000 years ago once it was deemed full. So excavations of the tomb didn't actually start until 1859, which is pretty late actually. And they found, when they analysed the bones in 1955, obviously not in the 80s, when they analysed the bones from here, they found that they had arthritis and toothache, which apparently was a very common complaint in the Neolithic times. Still is, isn't it? Dates back 5,500 years. So the barrow itself was actually built 1,000 years before Silbury Hill. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's petals scattered all the way around this main end chamber, and it is very much like a womb. There's a little air hole up there. Look at this construction. Imagine this. 5,500 years old. All these incredibly beautiful chambers, and they are very well carved. So this whole landscape, by the way, is a World Heritage Site and it's UNESCO, so it's protected forever pretty much unless something horrific happens.
I think Kat and I were both thinking the same thing. Come and have a little walk along the barrow. Really get the sense and the feel for how long the Long Barrow is. You get lovely views then back down Silbury Hill, Avebury and the River Kennet, which we walked along now. I think we're odds on about due a cup of tea and a sandwich, to be honest with you, so I'll probably bring you back in a minute whilst we're having a wee break. So we just stopped for a cup of tea and a sandwich. Cheese and onion today, in case you're wondering. Very lovely.
Of course you're wondering.
So we've got to double back on ourselves a little bit now. So we head back down Silbury, towards Silbury Hill, and then we pick up a different track, which takes us off in the direction of
Milk Hill.
Milk Hill.
And that is the tallest hill, or tallest point, what is it, highest point?
Highest point in Wiltshire.
It is the highest point in Wiltshire. Hang on, I'll tell you how tall it is.
Well, no, we won't tell you how tall it is.
No?
Because we'll do that when we get there.
Okay, I'll never tell you.
For the moment, I'm going to swig down my tea, finish off my sandwich, and catch you in a minute.
Yeah, because it is about a 3-mile walk, so
yeah.
I'll see you in a bit.
Skål!
Skål! That's lush.
It's good tea.